It's Jack from B&T MacFarlane. Today we're going to go over when you should be picking a skid steer or a wheel loader. So let's get into it. We get asked this question a lot from our customers when they're deciding between a loader tractor or a skid steer. And this comes up a lot, is when I should be picking a skid steer or a wheel loader. So these two machines, they're gonna do some of the same tasks on the job site for you, but then again, they're two completely different machines that both have their pros and cons. So today we're gonna go into some of the pros and cons of getting the skid steer and some of the pros and cons of getting that wheel loader. We're gonna start over on the skid steer on my right-hand side. The biggest advantage with going with a skid steer over a wheel loader is the versatility of the skid steer. This machine, it's not just going to be a loader tractor or a loader like you would see on the wheel loader. It's going to have endless attachments that can go on the front of it. There's all kinds of manufacturers that make attachments for the front of skid steers, and especially high flow ones. All the skid steers that we bring in at this dealership are high flow, which means they have a little bit higher gallons per minute flow rate coming from that hydraulic pump. And you can also use this summer and winter. There's snowblower attachments, blade attachments, hydraulic angle blade attachments. The list continues on and on for pretty much every application, and every industry has attachments for the front of skid steers. And it comes with a bucket as well and a set of forks, so you can use this as you would a loader as well. So you can use this to load pallets and load dump trucks and all the same things you would use a loader for. Another huge advantage of the skid steer is its form factor. It's very small in comparison when looking at a wheel loader, and it also has skid steer tracks. Whether you get them with wheels or tires, it doesn't really matter in terms of mobility. These skid steers, they do turn on a dime, and you don't need a long turning radius in order to do those kind of tasks that you would in a wheel loader. Now we're going to talk about some of the pros on a wheel loader. By far and large, the biggest pro of a wheel loader is its lift capacity and lift height. You're going to lift significantly more than comparable skid steers, and you're going to lift a lot higher than comparable skid steers. This machine here, it's probably going to lift about double what an SVL 65 would, and maybe a third more than what an SVL 75 would. And that's just because of its size. It's a bigger, heavier machine with a larger counterweight out the back, and it's a further counterweight out the back. Since it's a longer machine, it acts more of a lever when you're using that front end loader. One of the nice things of going with a wheel loader over a skid steer is the amount of visibility you get out of this cab. Whether you get an open station one like this one, or you get the full cab, you have unbelievable visibility all around you. I can see all in front of the machine, look out the sides to the sides, and then even when I turn around, it's really not that bad. You can see right behind off the back of the machine, so it makes it a pretty safe machine to operate when you're on a job site as well. You don't have to really worry about people around you or anything like that. It's very, very easy to see the entire. Next, we're going to talk about operator comfort. This is going to be a huge factor when you're deciding between a wheel loader and a skid steer, and that's because you're going to be in there for about 8 to 10 hours per day when you're using this machines on the job site. In terms of operator comfort, I have to give the upper hand to a wheel loader. There's just a little bit more space up on the operator's platform, and that better visibility really makes it easy to be an operator on a wheel loader. The skid steer, it's actually nice in there inside compared to other skid steers. Kubota, they probably have the best interior in terms of skid steers in the industry, but the visibility kind of hampers it. When you have those two arms up, it's tough to see out the side windows, and if you don't have a backup camera or some kind of mirrors to see behind you, it makes it pretty difficult to back up on a job site. In terms of maintenance on these machines, both of them are pretty similar in terms of the ease of access into the engine compartment. Right here's the R540. You can see everything's front and center, right from your fuel filter to your oil filter to your hydraulic filter, as well as your oil filter fill up and your air filters. There are a couple more filters and hydraulics underneath that operator's seat, so that's the only thing you would have to flip up. And some maintenance items that would be a little bit costly to replace on a wheel loader would be the wheels. Especially if you're street driving this, going from job site to job site, driving on the roads, you can run through tires fairly quickly on these. If we come over and take a look at the SVL 65, right here you're greeted by the radiator, but that easily swings out as well, and behind that it's going to look very similar to the R540. You're going to have all your filters and everything that you need to check there, and then the whole operator station actually flips up in order to access the hydraulic stack. So in terms of maintenance, it's really not too hard to do this by yourself, and it's not overly costly to bring it over into the dealership to get us to change it for you. And again, some common wear items that are going to be the tracks or the tires if you opt for a wheeled skid steer, and those are probably going to be the most costly maintenance items that you will have to get on these machines. So in the end, if you're looking for a machine that is just a loader tractor and you have lots of room in order to operate it and you want the nice deluxe cab with the increased visibility out the sides and the back, then the wheel loader is for you. But a couple of the cons are it's not very versatile. The really only attachments you can put on the front would be a bucket, a set of forks, and maybe a sweeper or a snow pusher for a little bit of snow removal. And if you're looking for a small compact machine to work in the tight areas and have an endless amount of attachments for the front of it, then the skid steer is going to be the one for you. And then in terms of pricing too, that always is a big factor when deciding between these two. Wheel loaders are generally a little bit more money than skid steers on a comparable size and model. It's just because a wheel loader is a little bit bigger and a little bit stronger machine. And as always, I just wanted to thank you guys for watching, and if you need help with parts, sales, or service, give us a call at 613-225-0555.